All right, we are almost underway with the girls 400-meter hurdles. So we have the girls and then the boys. It will be one heat for the girls today. And then in case you're new, the track and field. So first place for the varsity heat will be 5 points, followed by second place will get 3 points, and then 1 point for third place. And then whatever team has the most for the boys and the girls will win the meet. So in lane 1, we have Erin Hatchie and then Mary Finnegan in 2. Sydney Cochrane in 3, Clara Bransfield in lane 4, Sharon Brent in 5, and then capping it off with Maggie Flynn in lane 6. We should be out here in just a moment here, waiting for the gun to go off, and then it'll be one lap around the track, and I'd say one of the hardest events in track for sure. It's definitely the most taxing, but we will be underway in just a second. And we are underway, so definitely a bit of a stagger at the beginning here while the lanes 1 and 2 start to try to make that up here. Over the first couple hurdles we go. Right now we have Clara Bransfield taking first place out of lane 4. She's hoping to hold that lead going into the first 200 meters here. She's starting to pull away a little bit here, heading into the second start of the 200 here. She's rounding around the second curve. We have Norwood athlete Erin Hedgie trying to close that gap, but then in third place, Hopkinton's trying to secure as many points for varsity as they can as we're heading on the final 100 meters. Clara Bransfield here definitely stepping it up here. Definitely you can see it's getting tiring in the final stretch, but she will try to bring it home. Mary Finnegan trying to get second place as Clara Bransfield easily gets first place here in the first event here. Mary Finnegan will get third place, and then in second place, Norwood athlete Sydney Cochrane brings it home for that. As the girls 400 meter will finish up here with the last couple of Norwood athletes finishing up. You can see the real pain that takes towards the end. It's truly exhausting. And now we will head into the boys 400 meter hurdles as we have 2 heats for that. It is all Hopkinton boys 400 meter hurdles, and some people to look out for in the first heat. Zach McNally and Jacob Logan both should be having close times here today, but the other Hopkinton athletes as well should be close behind, if not winning today. So we will see for that in just a second.
What a race that was.
Yeah.
For that second place spot. It was back and forth there between Norwood and Hopkinton.
Yeah, it was definitely a close race. What a start to this meet. A bit of a delayed meet, but there's one nonetheless as the sun's creeping out behind the clouds. I think we'll probably avoid this rain for today, but you never know here in Massachusetts.
Oh, now you did it.
Yeah, and now it's going to happen. Now it's about to pour. But the boys 400 meters about to kick off with we have 4 athletes in the first heat and 4 in the second, just to even that out a little bit. Jackson Cafazzo, Zach McNally, Matthew Logan, and Jacob Logan in lane 5. So that's about to kick underway here. They're just preparing for that gun to go off in just a second.
So points-wise, do we know how many points you get for finishing first in that?
Yeah, so it's all in the varsity heat is where the points will be earned, and it will be 5 points for that first place, followed by 3 and then 1 for third. So it's definitely important to try to get podium for these matchups here as we're about to go off, and we are underway. Jacob Logan starting in lane 5. That's a scary place to be, I'll tell you. That lane 5, you just really got to kick up front here. Jacob's trying to hold that lead as much as he can. Both Logan brothers in this meet here, both trying to walk away with that win, and Matthew Logan trying to catch up to him, but Zach McNally in lane 3 also trying to help out there, try to make his mark on this event here, and it will be close getting towards starting to get to the last 100 meters, rounding the corner here. We have Zach McNally and Jacob Logan, and then Matt Logan as well will be close there. Matt Logan right now. And now Jacob's out in front here. Jacob and Zach. Be down to the finish here. Jacob with a final kick. Zach in second place. And then Matt Logan trailing behind. Jacob last gas here. And he will bring in the first place with Zach McNally following behind for second, Matt Logan for third, and then Jackson Cafazzo following up in fourth place for that. And now we will head into the second wave for that boys 400-meter hurdles, also all Hopkinton athletes, as we have Kaya Deberick, and then Bowden Mick, and then Owen Tenuzo Stour, and then Daniel Jacob in lane 5 here for these 4 athletes, spreading out from lanes 2 through 5. That should be underway.
That was another great close race.
Yeah, definitely a close one with Jacob and Zach right there. It was a tough race, but definitely a close one, and then Matt Logan close behind.
So this is the second heat. Now, you mentioned this event was tough.
Yes.
And it certainly looks tough.
Yes.
What do you think's harder? This event where you have the jumps more spread out, or the shorter hurdle events?
Honestly, I'd say the 400, just because the 400 is already a hard event as we go along with the second heat here. But it's definitely more grueling on your body, I'd say, than just a quick 110-meter hurdle race.
Right.
So we have Owen trying to catch up here to first place in this second wave of the boys 400-meter hurdles. And then Daniel Jacob in lane 5 just got passed by Owen here. He's running around the second of the 400 meters, so just going around there, and he's getting here to the last 100 meters shortly. And Owen's trying to run away with this event, but you can tell just the exhaustion that these athletes are facing here. You know, the running's getting a lot slower. Owen's, yeah, big arms he has to be. Last 50 meters here, last couple hurdles, he's really trying to jump over those. Owen will take away with this meet. And then in lane 3, Bowden Mick will get second place in the second heat of the boys 400. And that's the final kick here by lane 2. Nope, so lane 2, Kyle will get third place for that second heat there. And now we will move on shortly to the girls 100 meters, which is definitely a lot more athletes competing in this one, both Norwood and in Hopkinton. So we should be set up for a eventful event for the 100 meters.
Yeah, that was a good start for the Hillers. And, you know, it's a little bit warmer out there, too, but certainly pleasant conditions. And but I'd imagine this weather's just right. Not too cold, not too warm. It must be good for those athletes out there, especially competing in these hard hurdle events.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want. You want maybe a little bit of a breeze, a little bit of clouds, maybe a little sun peeking in, but you never want it to be too humid or too cold. So this is definitely optimal track racing conditions here for this Norwood and Hopkinton meet, as we're taking down the hurdles here and moving them off the track, getting ready for the girls' 100-meter hurdles. We'll have 6 athletes here. We'll have 3 Hopkinton and 3 Norwood competing here. We'll have lane 1 up shortly. We'll have Sarah Rodriguez Souza, and then Bella Walkowitz, Rebecca Wood, Callie Owens, Soraya Ellie, and then Kaylin Jeremiah in lane 6 here. So it should be a interesting and close finish here, I predict.
Absolutely. Now, Colby, you mentioned you did track and field for a little while. What were your favorite events?
Yeah, I did track for about 3 years. I just stopped doing it this year, but I did the 400 and the 200 meters, which is why I give some sympathy to the 400-meter runners, especially the ones who do it with hurdles, because that I definitely did not want to do, because I'm already having a hard enough time with the 400-meter itself. But definitely, I tried the events you had to do for my what I wanted to do was sprinting. So definitely long distance events are something that I stayed away from, and hurdles definitely, you know, I'm sure you've seen some clips in your past of some hurdle failures, so I just didn't want to get involved in any of that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, of course you're going to have hurdle failures here and there, but I respect anyone that's even trying to do it, because it is not easy to jump over those hurdles. I don't think I'd be able to get over a single one of them. So
Yeah, I can't heavily say I would either. At least not a full lap around and doing every so meters, but definitely a lot of respect to these runners, no matter what event we're doing. Even the field events, as we can see here, there's a lot of different sort of skill sets you have to have for these certain events here. As these athletes on the left side of the track are getting ready for the 100-meter hurdles, and you can see those blocks there that they're on. Those their feet will be on them in case you're new to the sport, just to give them an extra little bit of speed at the beginning, a little bit of a jump to try to improve their time as much as possible.
So those kind of give you a little launch, right?
Yeah, they do. They give you just a little nudge instead of starting flat-footed, and you just everyone. It's personalized for everyone. You can move around those blocks as much as you'd like.
Ah. Well, it's been a good start to the season for the Hillers, and we'll talk more about that throughout the broadcast. But it looks like we're about ready to get started with the first race.
Yes, we are. It's one of 8 heats here, so sit tight, Hillers. So we're about to go underway, and we're off. We have Callie Owens in the middle lane. She's hoping to reel away the finish here, and Kaylin Jeremiah for second. Bella Walkowitz, but it is Callie Owens who takes home first, and wow, second and third there was very close between Kaylin Jeremiah and Bella Walkowitz. Hard to see who even won there, Tom, but it's very close down to the finish. Callie Owens walks away with the first place there, and that's another 5 points for the Hiller girls team there.
Another great close race. And this looks like wave 2 coming up next. And this is a shorter race, but you got to pick up speed quick.
Yeah, you realize that the shorter the races go, the more the decimals mean in these times here, you know. You could say, how fast do you run? Oh, I run 12 seconds, but it's a large range here. So it's definitely perfection is key for these shorter events. As we get along with the second wave, we have lane 1, Abigail McGordy, and then Reagan Oust, and then Yasmin Santos, Kylie Rogers, Kathleen Carson, and then lane 6, Evie Woodbury. So we should be underway with the second wave of the girls 100 meters shortly, and then following that will be the boys 100 meter, and then after once we make it there, will be the 1 mile.
Now, is this a varsity wave as well?
No, it's just the first wave for these events. I mean, the 400 meter is a bit different. Just the regular 400, you can score points no matter what heat you're in. But
Okay.
besides that event, it's just going to be the first heat that can get those varsity points. But nonetheless, these events are very important individually for these athletes and
Right.
for the fans as well. I'm sure it's a great watch. So we are about underway, and there we go. Very quick race, and then we're looking at Kylie Rogers bringing up the front here. She is bringing away this second heat here. Kylie Rogers, and followed by some Norwood athletes here, but it is Kylie Rogers who brings home first place for the second heat here of the girls 100 meters. Sorry. We will head into heat 3 shortly.
Yeah, we apologize, folks. We had to put the camera down a little lower today. Typically, we're on the press box roof, but we had a chance of rain, so we're playing it cautious. So Denise doing the best she can down there, getting some great shots of the action. But occasionally, we're going to get some of the crowd in our way.
Yeah, definitely some fans might be in there, but better be safe than sorry in this Massachusetts unpredictable weather. I mean, what a season it's been. It was snowing just last week, and here
Right.
it said it was peaking at 83 degrees, and it's definitely sunny at times. You can see the clouds covering up a little bit, but it is definitely interesting weather as we kick off the third heat here of the girls 100 meters. As we are looking at lane 1, Brutus bringing on, but look at that, lane 4, we're looking at Catherine Kelly, and that is wrapping up the third heat of the girls 100 meters.
All very close races so far.
Yes.
And yeah, about the weather-wise, it's really amazing the the change between the meet last Wednesday, just 7 days ago, where it was probably 40 degrees and about a 20-mile-an-hour wind, and then here today it's almost 70 degrees, not too much wind, and just very nice conditions out there.
Yeah, it's you don't know what to expect this April weather here. I mean, so it's even said this morning it was going to peak at 83 and sunny, and now it's who knows, it's mid like 70s sunnies. We don't even you don't know what to expect here. Is rain a possibility? Who knows if that's going to happen? I'm not going to try to jinx that, but we will be heading into Heat 4.
Well, the HCAM Weather Center says 68 degrees.
Yeah, it's hot here as we move on in the Hillers. It's a close race here between lanes 3 and 4 here as we head off to a finish there. It looks like the Norwood athlete in lane 3, Isabella Allen, will walk away with that win here.
That was really
Yeah,
close.
that was a close one right there. And again, if you're new to track and field, these waves are determined by practice times usually. Usually for practices, athletes are training for their individually times. And then if you do good in a meet, you'll get maybe up to a varsity heat or even something higher than that.
Right, and you know it's kind of like playing JV on the JV baseball team or the JV2 team. You work your way up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why track is a non-cut sport, so you will see a lot of athletes competing in this. Now we have the 5th wave here underway for the girls 100 meter, and we are underway with that. Looks to be another close race here as the 3 Norwood athletes seem to be pulling ahead. We're looking at lane 3 here with McCullen walking away with the win, but again, it's a very close finish there. It's got some close finishing here as the beginning of the meet is underway here. Very close finishes.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Norwood had the win in that one, but close finishes all throughout. And let's see, we got another wave here. It looks like. And yeah, I think this is one of the more popular events. You get a lot of the athletes doing this event.
Yeah, definitely. 100 meters, you know, Usain Bolt is one of the best athletes to ever do that. So 100 meters, it's also quick and it's fast. So don't have to have a lot of long attention span for that one because some of these track meets can be very long as I've experienced. So we're heading in to the 6th heat, the 100 meter. Wow, and look at that. Evie Larder out of lane 6 here. She's just pulling away with this. Going to be first place in that 6th heat here of the girls 100 meter. Great job to her.
Yeah, it looked like she had a very nice start on that run, and she just zoomed through the finish line, and that was a nice win for Evie Larder.
Yeah, those starts are important. The starts is what mentally gets you right in that race, you know, and physically can give you that little jump, that extra step that you need on those athletes right beside you. And we're moving on to heat 7 and 8, the last 2 heats of this girls 100 meter. And we're looking at all Norwood athletes for these last couple heats here. And then we'll move on to the boys 100 meters, which will be up shortly.
Another great thing about track and field, you get a lot of the, let's say, basketball players that don't necessarily have a preference for a sport in the spring. Maybe they'll, want to just do something to stay in shape. They'll go track and field.
Exactly, yeah. It's definitely great conditioning for those athletes who aren't specializing in track, but then for the others, it's all-out brawl for that first as we're looking at a 3-person Norwood finish here. We're looking at lane 4 here with Tucker coming up with the win there in that 7th heat. But again, track and field can give a lot of options, a lot of different distances, and some even consider it just a nice workout to have. You know, it's really dependent on how seriously you want to take it, but it has different kinds of levels for sure, as I've experienced that there's many levels to track and field. As we're going to move on to the last heat here of the girls 100 meter, and then the boys will take it away after that.
Yeah, so many different events too. There's something for everybody in track and field.
Girls getting ready here for the last wave of the 100 meter. And they are underway with that, as we have a full 5-person heat here of all Norwood athletes. And we're looking at lane 4 with Frawley. But then lane 1's coming up here. It's another very close meet. Wow, it's a very close one there, Tom. It's hard to even tell between lane 1, Peterson, and Frawley in 4. Another very close event here, and it's definitely a very competitive sport no matter what heat you're in. I can safely say that.
Now, when you're in the events, and let's say you're in a wave, it's mostly you and teammates, you're still wanting to go for the win in that, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely some bragging rights the next day at practice there. And competitiveness never goes away, no matter what heat you're in. You know, you always want to improve yourself, and obviously you want to beat the other people as well. You know, you want to do your best, and that's what's great about track is that there's always going to be competition no matter what heat you're in. As we move on to the boys 100 meters, and lane 1, we have Dorian Rojas Maldonado. It's a big name there in lane 1, and then Max Keeler 2, and then Oliveria in 3, and then Iago Ferreira in 4, and then Mercedes Ortiz in 5, and Braden Liu in 6. And we are underway in the boys 100 meters. I was looking at Iago here. He's actually lane 4 here. Iago, very close finish here, and Iago brings home the win there for the boys. It's a huge, huge win there for the boys 100 meter. That'll be another 5 points to their scores. They take on that 100 meters, and we're moving on to lane or heat 2 shortly.
Well, another great win for the Hillers, and that'll give them some nice additional points. But it's been a great start for the Hillers this season. They got a big road win. I believe it was Dedham to start off the season, and then they got a nice win at home last week against Holliston. So they're in pretty good shape right now. And of course, I'd say one of their big goals is to take home that TVL Large crown.
Yes, that is always the goal for them, and as long as I've been a part of the Hillers, that's been what they've achieved. You know, they've been very dominant in the TVL and winning a lot. And as we move on to the second heat, you can see there's a lot of different athletes from Hopkinton that are competing in track. You know, we have Norwood, Isaiah Adam, but then we have Patrice Petit Frere, who's a football athlete you've probably heard of if you watched any of that season. And then you have Withers Blue in 3, and then Josh Tomaso Store in 4. So we're going underway here. Patrice looking there, and then we have Connor McNally over here as he hopes to bring home. And then look at that, Patrice in first place for that.
Yeah, it was a great win for Patrice there, and he had some great speed right off the start.
Yeah, definitely some of that football speed you might have seen this past year in fall athletics in the Hillers. As we move on to the third heat here of the 100 meters for the boys. As we have Carter Robinson in 1, Dylan Tran in 2, and then we have Alexandre, Saxton, and Sanchez and Pappenfort in lane 6 here for the 100 meter.
Yeah, good crowd on hand here today, and great conditions to come down and take in this track and field action.
Yeah, you know, I've realized it's not just about, you know, the athletics. It's about the culture and Hillers and Hopkinton here. It's just a good time, you know. It's nice weather. It's a nice place to be, open field, you know, a nice view. So it's just a good time to be here and watching some of these athletes compete here, and some very impressive times, heights, throws even. So it's a great time, you know. Definitely come check it out if you are available, because it's a good place to be.
And we'll have some additional coverage on our social media. I'm going to be going around to some of the other events you might not necessarily see during the broadcast. And we'll have some video coverage of those as well.
Yes, and there's like a false start there. That's what the double gun blow means there if an athlete starts a bit too early before And then they will reel them back there. And sometimes that can lead to disqualification. I'm not sure if they'll do it here just because it's, you know,
What about a 5-yard penalty?
yeah, that would be something. That would be definitely a harder feat to accomplish for this 100-meter. But
Might be something to consider.
it definitely, it'd be interesting to see, you know, a 5-yard penalty, how that would interfere as we're about down here with the third heat. We're underway as we go along here. We have Dylan Tran. And wow, we got Dylan Tran getting second here. And then we got Mateus in lane 4, which will bring home the win. And Dylan Tran in second place there for the Hillers.
Yeah, Mateus had a great start on that one and just had nice speed the whole way through.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's great to see, you know, some of these athletes. Mateus is, as far as I'm aware, is a JV soccer athlete. So again, it's great to see some of these athletes come out here and compete. And it's a fun sport because it's co-ed as well. You
Right.
know, that's one of the only sports you're gonna have guys and girls, you know, competed with each other on the same team. You know, it's the only school sport that will have that, and so that's interesting to see. It's a different atmosphere, and that makes it for a larger team here for the Hillers, but it makes them more united as well.
Absolutely.
Moving on to Heat 4, we have Dana, we have McPherson, Estilas, Ake, Rotwell, and then Nagini in lane 6 here. For
The other events, you'll sometimes see boys and girls on the same track as for the mile or 2 mile. I've seen it.
yes,
Times.
yeah, and sometimes you'll see that too for the 4x4, depending on the amount of teams you'll see there. And then sometimes some schools do this. They'll have a mixed 4x4 as well. We'll have 2 guys, 2 girls competing with each other on the same team. So that's definitely fun to watch. You might have seen that in the Olympics as well. It's definitely something they do.
Yeah, I think events like that are great, and it makes it very interesting too to see what the outcome is going to be when you got the 2 fastest girls on both teams and the 2 fastest boys.
Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely fun to watch, and it's interesting to watch too because you don't know what's going to happen. And we're underway with the 4th heat here of the boys 100 meters. We're looking at lane 4, hoping to bring that one in. That is Ake bringing there for lane 4, and he will win that heat there. And again, I'm always mentioning the lane 4, lane 3. Those lanes are determined also by your time as well. You know, the higher the heat you are, you know, or I guess lower, I should say. If you're the first heat, first lane, usually that means you're the fastest, although sometimes for the 100-meter, they spread that out a little bit. As you can see on the chart, they sometimes mix that up a little bit. So it's not set, determined by that, but for some events, they do choose to do that by speed as well.
Did you have a preference to what lane you liked racing in?
For the 400-meter, I tell you I don't want to be in lane 6, 5, and then usually 1. So usually like a 3 or 4 would be preferable for that. So we're moving on to the 5th heat here of the boys 100-meter. And looks like lane 6 will win there with Churchill bringing up the win there. As now we have 3 more heats left, and that will be all Hopkinton athletes.
So some of the other events going on right now. Looks like we get the high jump starting up, and also the long jump is in progress as well.
Yep, and now we're looking at heat 6. Gavin Paparazzo coming out of lane 6, hoping to catch and beat out Lucas Reed, and it looks like he will just edge him by. Lane 6, Gavin Paparazzo takes the win there, and the 6th heat of the boys 100-meter. It's every heat here has been a thrilling finish, so it's very fun to watch here. It's the last 2 heats again, all Hopkinton athletes there. And now we're off and underway with the 7th heat. We have 3 athletes here in the 100-meter hurdles, and we're looking at lane 1 with Karthik. And he will just, oh wow, that was another very, very close finish there. I think lane one just got away with that win there with Karthik. Very close finish there.
So that looks like it'll be the final heat for today for the 100 meter. Um,
Oh yeah, they might have, yep, they might have just not had those final three athletes there. So it looks like that eighth and final heat will not be happening, but we will move on to the girls 1 mile shortly there in the next few minutes.
yeah, I'm sure there's athletes that sometimes that if it's not really necessary for them to race that event, maybe they want to save their energy for the other events they have.
Yeah, exactly, and especially that last heat was three athletes, so you know one of them could have gotten moved or gotten out that start list and squeaked by online. So,
Right.
so yeah, definitely, definitely a bit of some stuff going on there, seeing which athletes will race. But nonetheless, it was seven thrilling heats there of that boys 100-meter hurdles, and we'll move on to that girls miles shortly.
All right. So, what would you say we have coming up next?
The girls 1 mile, I believe, will be underway. Yep, there you can see them starting to line up there on the right side of the track.
Looks like three Hillers, two Mustangs out there.
Yeah, there's looks to be maybe four hillers. It's hard to tell from this. Yeah, I believe there's four hillers here. It says here on the list that there'll be five here, but again, one of them could have opted out for that as well, as they are about to go under here for the mile, and they are underway.
And right now you're just getting a look at the shot put. We'll turn to the mile in just a moment. Yeah, looks like a nice throw there for the Hillers. And we got the 1 mile going on.
Yep,
So,
1 mile. It's 4 laps down the track, so definitely more conservative event here. You have to save your energy for that 4 laps around. But while this is underway, we will look to get some interviews here on the track. So stand by for those, as we'll hope to get you some post-game interviews out here shortly from some of these athletes who just ran their race.
yeah, and as these longer runs occur, you'll be given updates from time to time. And you might notice Denise focus on some of the other events as well throughout some of the broadcasts just to get some of the other action in also. Well, looks like a nice pace here.
Yeah, definitely got to save your energy here for these 4 laps as they just finished that first one here. So 3 more to go for these hillers. But you can tell big arms, long strides is the first thought you got to have here, and just to breathe as you endure this mile here. But again, we're going to look to get some interviews here. So stand by shortly for that.
right, folks, and we are coming close to the end of the 1 mile here. Looks like Norwood is first and second right now. So there it is. It looks like Norwood's going to take the mile. So I believe that was Shaylin Coyle and Karen Gorman finishing first and second. So some points there for Norwood. And we'll have a couple Hillers finishing up on their mile run.
Please report to the finish line. Boys and girls, 4x1.
So we're going to have the 4x1s coming up. That looks like it's going to be the next event. And we're going to let you listen in on the action and be on the lookout on the HCAM social media pages on our Facebook and Instagram pages. We're going to be, from time to time, maybe going live on our social media pages with some of the other events going on and giving you some updates from the action here as we are underway in this next event. And I believe this is the boys' 1 mile, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and it looks like Colby is going to have some interviews for us. So I'm going to step aside and we're going to get ready for those interviews.
So Gavin, you just ran your 100 meters. Can you just take me through that race real quick?
Yeah, I think it's a great race. I love to run it. I got blessed with the spikes from Colby Hughes, so I mean, there's always room for improvement. So looking forward to running it the next meet as well.
All right, and then Patrick Meehan, you haven't ran yet, but what events are you doing today? And can you take me through how you're going to prepare for those in just a couple minutes just to warm up for that?
I'm going to be running the 400 meters and the 4x400 meters. And to prepare for that, just trying to stay warm, try to stay hydrated. It's kind of warm today. And just really make sure I'm ready for it, like mentally and physically.
Yeah, and then in a warm day like today, you know, as you just mentioned, it's 75 degrees, you know, sun's creeping out and in. How do you prepare for an event today versus other days where it's a bit colder? How do you differently prepare for that?
I mean, I think the weather is one of the biggest factors. You know, definitely making sure you stay warm and active, especially when your events are separated along the meet. Definitely hydrating and snacks are definitely important to keep you, got good energy and stamina for the race. Yeah.
Do you agree with that? Anything you want to add there, Pat?
Yeah, no, Gavin hit the nail on the head on that one. It's pretty. I agree. Fluids, snacks, just stay ready and just positive attitude. That helps too. Yeah.
All right, and then lastly here, before I send you guys on your way, what do you do in practice that you think best prepares you for an event and a meet today? What do you do to prepare during the weekdays where you don't have to perform in front of other people, where you can just do individually? What do you do to get ready for that?
I would say my nutrition is one of the biggest factors of being an athlete. Nutrition, make sure you're getting all your proteins in, your carbs, your vegetables, of course, but also getting sleep is a huge thing. You know, those 8 hours they really build up in the long run, so I think that's important.
Patrick, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, for me, in like the training, I feel like the most important part is like the really hard workouts, because you can really just simulate how you're gonna feel in like one of these meets here, like the lactic workouts we do. You push yourself pretty hard, and it's pretty race accurate. So I feel like that's probably the most helpful thing for me.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for joining me here today, and good luck for the rest of your meet. And then we will bring up Kaylin Jeremiah and Callie Owens up here shortly. All right, so today I'm here with junior athletes Callie Owens and Kaylin Jeremiah. Can you guys take me through what event you just ran, and how did the race go for you guys?
I just ran the 100 and it went okay. I didn't get what I wanted, but getting closer, and hopefully invitationals will be a good push and get that PR that I want.
I thought it went pretty well. I had a really good block start. I got out pretty fast, and there was no headwind, so that was pretty good. We all got third place, I think. It was like
Yeah, we
me,
sweeped.
you, Bella.
Yeah.
So, sweep that.
So you mentioned terms like block starts, headwind. So how do you prepare for an event like this where decimals matter so much, you know, where faster times matter so much more? What do you do during the days where you don't have a meet to mentally prepare and physically prepare for meets like today?
We do a lot of hard
workouts.
workouts on Monday. Monday?
Yeah,
Monday we had a really hard workout, which prepared us for this because it was really hot, and that was like our first really hot practice. And we had a lot of wind in our last meet, which kind of helped us prepare for like the in-between of today.
Anything you want to add to that, Kaylin?
No.
Well, that's fine. It looks like she hit the nail on the hammer for that. And then lastly, are there any other events you guys are running today that we should look out for?
We'll both be in the 200.
Wow, the 200. All right, so look out for Kaylin and Callie for the 200 there. Thank you guys for your time. Head back up to Tom Nappy on the booth here up shortly.
Thanks, Colby.
All right, so we had, during that quick break, we had the girls' 1 mile finish. We actually had Norwood taking first and second. We had Karen Gorman, and then we had Coyle and then Wafia behind in third place for the Hillers. And then for the boys' mile, we are still waiting on those final times. But what I can tell you is that the Hillers did walk away with that win there in the mile. So it's definitely a strong start for the Hillers, boys and girls here, as they're looking at hoping to get a 3-0 victory here and move on to their next matchup in the near future. And then as the mile just finished, we're going to move on to the girls 4x100. So this event, a very unique one for the 100 meter, as you have a total of 400 meters here, and you have 4 different athletes for one team, and the baton that gets handed off there, in case you're unaware of how any of those specific works, it's definitely less room for error here, as it's a team effort to try to get that first place. But we will be underway with that event shortly for the 4x1.
All zones clear.
And we
All
just
zones
got
clear.
news that for the boys 1 mile, Darian, Leo, Jack Heaton, and then Sam Steffen, all from Hopkinton, took 1, 2, and 3 there for that event, as we're about to start this 4x100 meter. Looks to be like we have 3 teams here competing for the girls, so lanes 2, 3, and 4 to look out for on this track, as they'll do a full lane lap around, and the gun sounds, so we are underway. And Hopkinton in lane 1 is in starts with 3rd place of that stagger, and then Norwood's hoping to make up that stagger as the first handoff goes underway. Fans noticing that one as we are moving on to the second handoff, almost, with Norwood in 1st place. And the handoff, you can see, that handoff's important. You have to make sure you don't lose any time from that. So it's definitely an important aspect, as it's going to be a close finish here, but it looks like Norwood's going to walk away with this, as Hillers try to get there, but it looks like Norwood's going to walk away with this meet here, as Hopkinton close behind in 2nd place. So the Norwood girls will take the win here for that, and then the 3rd wave of girls will come back behind in 3rd place for that, and we will move on to the boys 100 meter hurdles, or 4x100, sorry.
Boys 4x1 on the track. Boys 4x1 on the track.
I mentioned the mile before. Speaking on that, there will be several folks coming into Hopkinton for the 26.2 mile marathon that will be underway in just a couple days. The Boston Marathon, very well-known event here in Hopkinton, as we are the host town of the start line for that event. And we will be underway with the 4x100 boys shortly. Looks to be like we got a full 6-lane 4x100 meter here. And these athletes should be kicking off shortly, these boys athletes specifically. And then after these 4x100 meters, we'll move on to the 400, just the regular ones, no hurdles this time for that event. Definitely just as hard without those hurdles there, I'll tell you. And it is underway for the 4x100 for the boys. As you can see, the staggers trying to get made up here by lane 5, and they will take that. Believe that is Hopkinton in 1st place there, with Norwood close behind. And there's another handoff here. The Hopkinton boys team will look like they're taken away with this win very easily, but Norwood's not going to go away without a fight here. Let's move on to the final handoff, the 4x1. It looks like the Hopkinton Hillers will take away this event with Ian Welding running up the rear here. Norwood close behind there with second place, and then Hopkinton gets third. So that is another 6 points there for the boys Hillers, as first place got 5 points and then 1 point for third. So Hopkinton adding to their lead there as they hope to win this meet. And we will move on to the girls 400 meter shortly. And we are underway for the girls 400 meter. So you can see 6 lanes filled out here, and then lane 2, sorry. Looks like there's only 5 athletes here. Sophie Razul trying to make up that ground. As we're looking at Bella Walkowitz up here in first place with a commanding lead out here in the opening 200 meters here, as she wraps around the goalpost here in the last, going into the last 100 meters here. She still has a bit more to go. Bella Walkowitz with a very big lead here, long strides. You can definitely catch her in some of the, the high jump here. And she does hurdles as well, and she's hoping to get the first place there. You can see the long strides and big arms here. As you can tell, it's very demanding on you. And Bella Walkowitz will walk away with a win here, and then Sophie Razul and then Addie Morrissey in third place there out of lane 6 for the varsity heat of the girls 400 meters. And then you have some Norwood athletes close behind. I mean, you got to give respect to them. It's very, very tiring to get through 400 meters here. It's a grueling event. And then we're heading on to the second heat, 2 of 2 heats for the girls 400 meter. If my list here is correct, it should just be 3 Hopkinton athletes competing here. In lanes 2, 3, and 4, we have Donahue, Zielinski, and Burton. And then after this, we'll move on to the boys 400 meter hurdles, and then the 100 meter hurdles next as we kick off the second heat of the girls 400 meters. We're looking at Burton with the early lead here, but Zielinski trying to catch her, and she seems to be just catching her there at the first straightaway. Zielinski there. And then we still have many more events to come. We have the 100 meter hurdles, boys and girls, and then 800, 200, 2 mile, and then wrapping it up with the 4x4 here. So sit tight, Hillers. We got a long night ahead, but a very fun one in that. As you can see, it gets a lot harder here in this final stretch. And it looks to be Zielinski with the lead here going in, and then Burton close behind. Zielinski here, the final 50 meters here. Burton with a little bit of a comeback here at the end, but it looks like Zielinski will hold on to that second heat of the girls 400 meters, and we will move on to the boys 400 next. We have 3 heats of that, so it should be a fun one. Boys getting ready here, getting to their starts. I tell you, we're getting up to that starting line. A lot of adrenaline here built up, but the second that horn goes away and you just focus on your fundamentals here as they're getting ready. The boys 400, and they're underway here in the boys 400 meter. So we have O'Connell in lane 6 out here early with the stagger at the beginning here. But you're looking at Jack Knutson trying to catch him here in the first straightaway with some Norwood athletes in between. And then you have Heavey out here in lane 2, primarily an 800-meter runner, so he's looking here to try to get a good finish. But you're looking at Knutson here, the last straightaway, but Norwood athlete in lane 3, DeHoor out close, so Knutson will have to have a big kick here. Knutson with big arms here, looks like he'll take away with this event. And he will, and then Heavey with a big kick at the end there to get up 3rd. Great effort by him, big comeback for Heavey there, and then you'll have DeHoor, and out of lane 3 will bring up 2nd place for Norwood. So it's not over yet, but the Hillers are definitely adding on to their lead. As we move on to the second heat of the boys 400 meter, we got 5 Hopkinton athletes, 1 Norwood. So definitely a Hiller heat up here, but nonetheless there'll still be some heavy competition for all these athletes, hoping to get some personal times. Let's move on to the second heat. We have Mohit, we have Matt Delpret, and then we have Carey, Patrick Meehan, Daniel Morrissey, and then Colby Hughes out of lane 6 here. Should be a close heat here. These athletes are getting ready to go under their race. And here they go. Colby out of lane 6 with the early lead. He has to get up to a fast start at the beginning here to try to get ahead early because he has to take a long turn for that that second turn he has to take there. He has to go a ways around the track, and he will give a large kick here heading into the first 200 meters. You have Matthew Delpret and Patrick Meehan. Matthew Delpret trying to close it in lane 2 here, but it looks to be Colby Hughes here will get the win. Daniel Morrissey's closing close behind, but Colby Hughes with big arms. Patrick Meehan, Daniel Morrissey very close for 2nd place in this heat, and it looks to be Colby Hughes who wins it, and a very close time here between Patrick and Danny Morrissey. We'll have to see and look at the clock to see just how close that was. As we move on to the third and final heat of the boys 100 meter, or the boys 400 meter final heat of that, and then we'll move on to the hurdles here shortly after. And we are underway here with 3 Hopkinton athletes. You know, you might be wondering what's the point of doing these heats here with all Hopkinton athletes, and the answer is simply just to improve. You know, these athletes, they want to improve their times, they want to get better. You know, this could be considered a workout for some of them as well, even if it's not against other competition from other schools, but they still have competition from other Hillers athletes as well. As we're looking at Josh Fonseca with a commanding lead heading into the second 400 meter. as Josh will be heading in first place here in this final heat. Last 100 meter here. Josh, the commanding lead here. Trevor Zielinski and Arhan Jog close behind, but Josh Fonseca didn't look back here with first place in that last heat here for the boys 400 meter, and we will move on to the 100 meter hurdles here shortly. In the meantime, be looking to get some of those athletes who just competed up here in the booth just to give a little play-by-play of what their race was like. So please stand by for that as we get these athletes out here, and look out for some of these field events as they're still underway and going.
All hurdles on the track, yellow marks. Hurdles on the track, yellow marks.
All right, folks. So right now, I believe it's the girls' 100-meter hurdles underway, and I believe that was heat 1. And it looks like the Hillers were able to finish first in heat 1. And mostly Hillers in this heat. This is heat 2, 5 Hillers, 1 Norwood Mustang. And nicely done by the Hillers there. So now they're moving the hurdles, and it's going to be the boys' 100-meter hurdles up next. And we got an update from Hiller softball. They're on the road in Dedham. They ended up taking a win today. So Hiller softball getting a nice win over in Dedham. And we had a few Hiller games on the road. We'll try to get you some scores from those. And it looks like Colby's ready to do some interviews. So we will step aside and give the mic back to Colby.
All right, I am here with Colby Hughes, just coming off of 400. How do you feel about that race? A very impressive time there.
Thank you, Colby. A lot of fun. Really good to be back on the track with my teammates. Great weather, hanging out. A lot of fun.
Yeah, so state qualifying time there. Take me through, how does your mindset mentally change as you go around that first curve there and that first straightaway? What are you thinking about as you get off the start?
Want to go out hard so I can stay in front, especially lane 6. Don't want to get caught up for. Let's listen to the footsteps behind me, really gets me going. Just don't want to get past.
Yeah, so you mentioned they're lane 6. So how does that lane interfere with how your game plan goes with the race? Does that affect how you look at the race overall once you find out you're in that last lane there and you start out with that early lead?
Yeah, lane 6 is definitely a little difficult sometimes. No one to pace you. You're running your own race out there. Just kind of focus on keeping myself healthy, not burning myself out too fast.
All right. Colby, so any other events you're running today or any you're looking forward to the rest of the tonight?
I think I'm all set for the night, Colby.
All right. Well, we'll leave you out there. So Colby Hughes with a very impressive 400-meter. And in just one moment, I will have Patrick Meehan with his post game, as I just interviewed him a little bit ago. Thank you, Colby, for your time.
No problem, sir. Thank you.
All right, and then on the track there, real quick, we just saw some hurdles crashing down there. There's Harry Miller there. It's unusual, fault for him. He's a very impressive. I believe he's first or second in the state here.
I believe it was first, Colby.
Yeah,
Pretty
and as
impressive
the
stuff.
voice you just heard, I am joined here by Patrick Meehan. I interviewed you before, so can you give us your little post-game thoughts on that 400-meter race that you just did?
I got out the way I wanted to. I was pretty happy with that. I was in stride where I was supposed to be. Caught up to Daniel Morrissey on the stagger a little bit. Unfortunately, I couldn't maintain that through, and he did just get me at the line in that last 100 stretch. Form kind of fell apart. Breath was heavy. Lost a little bit of focus, a little bit too focused on my competitor. But, yeah.
Yeah, so as we're moving on to the camera here, so I asked this to Colby, but I'll ask this to you as well. As you go around this track here, how does your mental view change as you get to different checkpoints on that race?
Well, to be honest with you, Colby, I kind of realized that I'm running a 400 about 80 meters in. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm running now. So it's kind of like a mental check. I kind of start to lock in all the nerves at that point. Like, in my opinion, my adrenaline kind of carries me through the first curve, and then it really just like starts to get gritty, and you try to get big arms, big elbows through the back and float.
So you mentioned those big arms, big elbows, and I asked you before what gets you ready for a race, and you talked about your training and your workouts. So how does that come into play exactly here for this race? Can you think of any specific workouts or anything you do to prepare that will make you as ready as you can for the 400 meter today?
I mean, yeah, as I mentioned, like 400 repeats, lactic workout in general, that definitely prepares you for that end feeling where like your legs are tired, you just want to quit, and everything hurts. I feel like that prepares me the best for the end. Unfortunately, I couldn't really execute the way I wanted today in the last 50 meters, but we move, we keep going, and it's okay. There's always next race.
Yep. So you mentioned, you didn't execute, but still a very impressive time. What do you look for this next, finishing of this week and leading up until that next race? What are you going to hope to improve on individually to get a better time for that next meet?
I'm definitely just going to try to train harder, take seriously. Probably try to eat better recently. I feel like that plays a big role in it, like how I feel my body, and just trying to get in the best shape I can. So just eating healthy and training hard. No excuses.
All right, that's a great mindset to have. And we had just finished up with the girls and boys 100-meter hurdles here. So thank you, Patrick Meehan, for your time, and it's a name to look out for in the future here because he's just a junior. So he still has one more year left to prove himself as a varsity athlete, as you are definitely one. So thank you, Patrick, for your time, and we'll step away very shortly and getting ready for that next event here.
Yep, so look out for the 4x4. I'll be running it. Thank you so much, Colby.
Of course. All right, and now we are moving on to the girls and boys 800 meter here. It's 2 laps around the track in case you're not familiar with that. And you can see the start's a bit different than the others. They all have a little bit of a half horseshoe shape there as they're lining up to get ready for this very difficult race. I will say 400's difficult enough as is, but having 2 laps is definitely more enduring and you have to pace yourself more. But yeah, 2 heats here, and the first one's underway for the girls 800 meter, and I will call the names as I see them, but it's 2 laps around here, so we will be looking for someone who can have a good pace here, but also, a fair speed to keep them ahead of the rest. But you notice here, none of them are going to try to sprint out way ahead here. They kind of want to compare their times with everyone around them. You don't want to get too far ahead and waste all that energy, but you also want to make sure you can make a move when you can and when is necessary to try to get yourself up to that top spot. as we are approaching the first 200 meters here of the 800 meter for the girls. And we will move on shortly.
Let's see, Kobe, you got the scores up there. Any official scores come in recently?
Yeah, I can look here. Let me see if I can find these specific scores.
Looks like they're about to get into the second lap here.
Boys and girls 200, you should be warming up. Boys and girls 200 should be warming up.
So there you heard the call for the boys and girls 200 to warm up. So that event will be coming up next.
Boys high jump, please report. Boys high jump.
Yeah, so right now we're looking at, for the boys, a very commanding 52-7 lead. And then the girls also have a very commanding 49-19 lead. So definitely Hiller's pulling away with this Hopkinton Norwood meet here. Very nice conditions here today, but it looks to be that Hopkinton will improve to 3-0 here and hope to continue their dominance in the TVL as these girls are wrapping around with their finish here. And we look to have Lila Helling here with the finish.
Got two Hillers right at the front there.
Two Hillers, and it looks to be like Lila will come away with first place. So that's adds on to the Hiller girls' lead there.
Oh,
As
that was
these
a great
athletes
finish.
are coming close behind here, you can just tell it's a bit spread out, but it's not easy work, I will say.
So how many scores do we get in that event? Is it the top three?
Yeah, it's a top 3 for that as well. So Lila will give the girls team an extra 5 points, and then we'll get 3 points for that Hiller's second place as well. So it's definitely a big event for the girls team there as they will continue that lead. And it looks to be like we have 2 heats of this girls 800 meters, so we will be underway with that. You can see a lot more Norwood athletes in this, a lot of yellow shirts in the second heat here. Very bunched up here in the start, bit of a curve, and they're getting ready here for their fair share of 2 laps around the track and hoping to get a great time for them individually. And we are underway with the second wave of this girls 800 meter. You can see the people on the outside trying to get up in front a little bit just so they don't fall behind, but then again, trying to put themselves in a place where they can comfortably stride and hope to get uncomfortably comfortable, as I've heard many times in this 800. It's not an easy race. You know, you're constantly fighting for that next step here, and these girls are in that first straightaway here, as you can see. Some of them trying to put themselves in a good spot moving forward in this 2-lap race.
Yeah, looks like a good pace out there. And there's a couple trying to pull away. One thing I mentioned before, Hiller softball was on the road today, and they picked up the win. We have a score for you. The Hillers took down Dedham 9-3. So Hiller softball improving to 4-1 on the season.
Yeah, and the softball team, it's a very strong team as they coming off a Final Four loss last year to Bedford, I believe. They had a very, very strong year last year, hoping to continue that success coming into this year as the softball and baseball team hoping to make their way into the playoffs and have a bit of a run there, as this track and field team's hoping to claim the TVL.
Colby will be calling some Hiller baseball and softball with us coming up.
Yeah, I have some coming up. It should be shortly after break. I'll be on the call there. I'm looking forward to some Hiller action with the bats. It should be a good time. Hoping to see some Hiller wins in the near future and hoping to call some good games as well.
Absolutely. Well, we're happy to have you. You know, we got the baseball and softball team playing the majority of their games at the same time, so it'll be great to have you calling one of those games while I'm calling the other, and there won't be fans left without a broadcast. You know, I mean, it always adds a little something when you have a great broadcaster such as yourself on there that can help explain the action that's going on. And as we've seen these Hiller softball and baseball games, they have been action-packed this season. And speaking of Hiller baseball, I want to mention they got a win today as well. They took down Dedham 7-2 in a road game. So they are now 4-2 on the season. Or actually, make that 5-2. They win their 5th straight game today.
Yeah, you know, they had a rough start of the year. I was talking to some of those athletes at the beginning of the season, Noah Kramas and Mike Sullivan, as they had a slow start falling to Ashland, but they came around against Bishop Fian. You know, they had a great pitcher, as you know, 20 scouts there for them, but that win sort of changed something in them. They got their 5th straight win, as you mentioned, so definitely happy and excited to be on the call for that, and happy that both of us can be there to represent the baseball and softball teams as they continue with their very successful season so far, and excited to see what they have in store for the rest of the seasons and postseason.
Absolutely, and it looks like here in the second heat, the Hillers ended up getting the win, despite a field of mostly Norwood. It's Hopkinton who gets first. And I want to say it was the one in the 4th lane that got the win there. Akshaya Mavaler, and apologies if I am not correct, if I'm not pronouncing that name correctly.
Yeah, some of these names, bear with us on that, but I believe the Hillers took away the win with that, as the second heat of the girls' 800 meter is now complete, and the boys will be up shortly. Sean Finnegan will be up there for 800 meters. You might know him from the 1 or 2 mile, as he's very strong at those 2 events. He's ranked in the not only the TVL but in the state as well. So not sure if this is his main event. I know it's specializes in those longer distances, but look out for him, as he could have a great time. And then Matthew Fitzgibbons as well as another great 800 meter athlete. But all these Hiller and Norwood athletes all around are looking to make an impact here, as this 800 meter is almost underway. And we are off with the 800 meter. And the beginning of these 2 laps are underway. So you can see a lot of those, a large field of Hiller athletes there. So a lot of green up front early here. You can see some of those Norwood athletes.
Is there Norwood out there?
Okay. I could see a few there in the back, but it's definitely Hopkinton that's asserting their spot here earlier in this race.
Yeah, and one thing you might see is, if the Hillers get a comfortable lead, you might see, Sean Finnegan helping pace his teammates. We saw that a lot in the Holliston meet where, he kind of just paced with them and made sure that they all stayed at a pretty good speed, and it ultimately will help the team in the long run.
Yeah, and pacing is important here, in these longer distances. You don't want to get out too early. 800 meters, if you have that first 400 too fast, then that second 400 is going to be brutal for you. As I've learned in many of my, when I used to do track back in the day, having a good pacer is a savior, to say the least, because you don't want to get too hot too early in some of those workouts and then just be struggling for a next step later on. So as Sean Finnegan and Matthew Fitzgibbons are the front 2 here, as I mentioned, to look out for. They look to be pacing both of each other, some friendly competition out here. But they look to be clearly in the lead as 1 and 2, and then 8 points for the Hiller boys, as the Hopkinton Hillers will look to extend their dominant lead here on Norwood today.
Yeah, a much warmer day. Last time we saw Sean Finnegan run last week, he was wearing a winter hat, but no winter hat today.
No, and then Matthew Fitzgibbon there passing Sean Finnegan. And it looks like Matthew here will get the win, and then Sean will come back behind in second place. And then we got a couple more Hillers athletes there running up third and fourth place. So definitely a dominated 800, and then Dylan Hatherley coming up there with with a strong performance from him. As I hope to get one of those guys maybe up here for a post-game interview, but we shall see about that. But a lot of Hiller athletes making their mark here in the 800-meter, a very respectable race. And it looks to be like we have 2 heats of this 800-meter for the boys, so sit tight for that. But as we move on to this second heat of the 800-meter, I might look to get some interview in with a post-game with one of those athletes who just ran there. So stand by for that, as we have the girls 200 meter, and then followed by the boys, and then the 2 mile after that, and then we'll wrap it up with the 4x400 meter, and then this match will be concluded there. So we still have a little bit to go, so stay tuned for that.
Absolutely. All right, so we'll step aside for a moment while we continue to bring you the action. You are tuned in to Hopkinton Hillers Track and Field. We are live on HCAM.
All right, what's up, everyone? I'm Dylan Hatherley. Just ran the 800. It's my first time running it. I think it overall went pretty well. I tried to use some of those other guys. I believe it was Lucas Arnold who I was pacing myself with a little bit. He told me before the race that he was going for like a certain time that was sort of in the ballpark of what I was hoping for. So I just kind of rode off to his shoulder for the majority of the race, and then he had a little bit more kick in the end of the race than I did, definitely, but I tried to stay behind him, and it was a good experience. I was pretty happy to get out there. Typically run the mile, but it felt pretty good.
Yeah, so Dylan here with a great 800-meter performance. You can see some perspiration here. Can you take us through the mental and physical aspect of that 800-meter as you get to different checkpoints through that race?
Yeah, so it's a little bit tough because you come out and you feel like you can really push it. It's like you know that you're not going out there to run a mile. It's a little bit shorter in distance, so you get off pretty hot and you feel really good. So a lot of it's just like keeping that kick in your bag so you have that ready for you. Not that I executed that perfectly. I think I definitely came out a little bit too hard. But that's why the 800 is what they call to be like one of the toughest races. It's tough to really conserve energy while staying at such a fast pace because you're not, like I said, going out there to run a mile or 2 miles. It's still relatively close to a sprint, yeah.
Yeah, so I mentioned before that 800 is definitely one of the toughest meets, and I've asked some of these other people, so to prepare for meets like this, take me through what we don't get to see in these HCAM interviews here. What do you do during your practices to get ready for a meet today?
Yeah, well, really for an event like the 800 or any of the longer distance ones, because the 800 is sort of on that short end of the long distance events, you're trying to build like your aerobic base, so you're going on long runs, but simultaneously you need to be doing these workouts where you're running fast 400s, you're doing these tempo interval runs, so you still have that raw speed, but you're also able to hold that pace for a prolonged period.
All right, thank you, Dylan. So we you could see here the 200-meter girls just wrapping up here. We had Callie Owens with the win, but
super strong performance.
Yeah, great performance by her. But thank you, Dylan, here for your time.
Of course, thank you, man.
Continue the other interviews today.
Yeah.
All right, so as I mentioned, the girls 200-meter, we had Callie Owens with a first-place finish, and then Addie Morrissey and Kaylin Jeremiah, two of which I interviewed there before, so great performances by them. And then we're wrapping up here with the 200-meter for the girls. We're moving on to the boys, and then got the 2-mile after that, which might get some interviews there while that goes on, and the 8 laps around the track. So no easy feat for those distance runners. The longest distance we're racing today, so it's going to be a tough race for those athletes. But right now our focus is on 200-meter sprint here, which is definitely a different way to look at the track here as we're getting ready for these male athletes to race here, the 200-meter. And we have in our first heat, first of, I believe, 5 heats here, we have Mercedes Ortiz from Norwood in lane 1, and then Ferreira in 2, and then Duhor in lane 3 from Norwood, and then we have Welding in 4. He's varsity soccer athlete, if you might have seen him before, since his freshman year there. So definitely you can see some of that cross speed between soccer and track athletics. Very strong runner. And then we have another Norwood athlete, Oliveira, lane 5, and then Jacob Logan, lane 6, a name to look out for as he's a multi-event competitor. You can pretty much see him in most of the events that there are as the 200 meter is underway here. A very fast start here as these athletes are looking to try to get as fast into that curve as possible. As we're looking at Yago in lane 2, but then we're looking at Ian out of lane 4, and then Jacob close behind. Looking at Ian coming up with the win here, but Jacob and Yago close behind, but we have Ian who takes the win there. With Jacob Logan, Yago Ferreira close behind there. The very eventful 200 meter. As we move on to the second of 5 heats, a very fanatic finish there for those Hopkinton athletes as they get all 3 spots in that podium. So securing their dominance in this Hopkinton-Norwood matchup here.
Yeah, it was certainly a close finish there. It looked like anybody in the middle could have taken it, but I think it was lane 3 just pulled ahead and got the nice win.
Yeah, it was Welding there he was out of lane 4, but
was that Welding who won that?
Yeah, it was Ian Welding. He's a very
lane
strong
4, right.
200 meter runner, but definitely
Well, he was a lot of fun to watch on the soccer field this past fall.
Yeah, making the soccer team as a freshman's no easy feat, so got to be good to do that. As we move on to the second heat here, let's look at some other soccer athletes. We're looking at Pritchard and Josh Tomato Store.
This is going to be a very close finish.
Yeah, we're looking at a Norwood athlete out of lane 3, I believe, with Rojas Maldonado. That was a very close race again out of heat 2 there.
The 200 seems like a good event to have towards the end because it kind of just takes everything out of you.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of just a slingshot, as many people like to say. You curve around there, building up the speed. You try to really attack that curve and then just burst out to that straightaway, that 100 meters at the end there. So it's a very quick event, and it's a fun one, I would say. It's one of the ones I like the most because it's a sprint, but it's not taking every little bit out of you. You just try to give it all you have, but it doesn't do more than just that. So
right.
Moving on to the third heat here. The boys 200 meter. We're looking at Dylan Trana lane 6, but then Lucas Reed in lane 4 with the lead here as he looks to get the win for that. Big arms from him, and Dylan Tran trying to catch up. So is McPherson, but it looks to be Lucas Reed there. Another multi-sport athlete. He does Hiller's football as well as he's heading into his senior year next year. So look out for him this fall. So moving on to the 4th and 5th heats here of the boys 200 meter. A lot of Hopkinton athletes. In fact, heat 5 is going to be featuring all Hopkinton athletes, but before that we have a heat with 2 Norwood athletes here as they're about to go underway. And there they go here. Really trying to attack that curve in the first 100 meters there. As you can see, long strides there, trying to go against that bend. So wrapping around there, we're looking at lane 4 there, Lucas Spinelli in the first place, trying to secure his top spot in that heat here. And that's going to be a win for Lucas Spinelli in the 4th heat there. It's a great result for him. It's good effort as we're heading into the 5th and final heat of the boys 200 meter here. All Hopkinton athletes here, so it's safe to say the Hillers walk away with this one. So we are having the 2 mile next after that. Definitely a slower paced race, something you gotta have a completely different mindset for that type of event here, but we're looking forward to a different kind of event here on HCAM.
Yeah, on this current event, you just got to start off right away, fastest you can go, and then on the 2 mile, you could start off a little slower and kind of work your way into it.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost exactly opposite from each other. You're taking a fourth of a track and then, or a half of a track, sorry, and then you're adding way more to that. You're doing 2 miles, so it's 8 laps around. So it's definitely a different kind of preparation for that. I'm sure the workouts are way different, as I've talked to some of these athletes about before. But we're looking at the final heat here. And it looks to be like some of these athletes might not be lining up here for this final heat. So I'll keep you updated if we do end up having that final heat here of the 200 meter, or if that has concluded it there. Nonetheless,
yeah, I'm sure one thing they're thinking about right now, they're probably thinking about time a little bit, trying to get everything in. And, if they got to turn on the lights, I'm sure they will. But you want to make sure you get everything in.
yeah, with this bit of a delayed start here, you got to make some adjustments to that. So especially with this meet not being as competitive towards the end here, you might not need to have this last wave of all Hopkinton athletes compete. But you can look to the right side of the. You can look at the. You can look at the right side of the track here, and you have the 2 mile going on. And while this undergoes, I'll look to see if I can get any more interviews with some of these athletes who had just done their events here at the Hiller track here today. But in the meantime, we'll show you some of this 2 mile from the girls here, as Hopkinton looks to be in control of this meet. And the sun is setting here, so...
This looks like a mixed 2 mile.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think maybe they combine both of them here. Maybe, again, to save time, like we had mentioned before. So, yeah, it looks to be like they are mixing up the boys and the girls. I'm not sure if it's just one heat or two, but we will find out shortly as these 8 laps are underway. But like I said, I will be looking to get some interviews here, so enjoy this 2 mile mixed here tonight on HCAM.
All right, folks, and don't forget, we also have videos available on our social media of some of the other events you might not have necessarily seen in the broadcast, so I'm sharing some of those throughout the meet as well, but we'll step aside. Here's the 2 mile.
HCAM. Today I'm here with senior Zach McNally and junior Jacob Logan. You guys both ran the 400-meter hurdles. Can you take me through that race, as it's a very hard one? I might say the hardest race on the track tonight. Can you just take me through that race?
Yeah, we started off, we were in the same heat. It's pretty nice. Started off, first 100 blew by, second 100 blew by as well. Then things started to get shaky around the 300 mark, and then just finished it out.
Yeah, I was in the outside lane. I had no one to pace me. I had no idea what I was doing. So I was just floating and hoping that I would stay in front, and just so happened I was barely able to outkick Zach here.
So you mentioned that outside lane. How does the lane impact how you'll do on the race? Because many of the viewers here don't know exactly how that works, with the stagger and everything. Can you take me through what the mindset is and how that changes depending on which lane you're on?
So since the track's an oval, we can't all start at the same spot. So it's staggered out where the outside lanes are in front of the other lanes, but it evens out after both the curves. So since I started on the most outside lane in front of everyone else, I couldn't see anyone for the entire race, so I had no idea where I was compared to anyone and who I could pace myself with.
And so Zach, can you take us through how do you prefer? What do you prefer to run? What race or what lane do you prefer to be in when you're running?
Honestly, I think I just ran in lane 3. I think lane 2 or 3. I think you get, like Jacob was saying, you get someone to pace yourself. You can catch up to them. You can. Then it's if it's a 1v1, then you just go all out. It's nice.
Yeah, and then Jacob, you just ran the 200 meter as well, as we just concluded that event. Can you walk me through how does the 200 compare to the 400 hurdles? It's a very different event, but do you still have a similar mindset going in to just run and to kick, or how does that change?
Yeah, especially today because I was also in lane 6 for the 200, so I also had no one in front of me again. So I didn't sprint as hard off the start because I couldn't see where I was to anyone else. And then you got to sprint and then just try to hold your speed and then sprint again for the final 100.
All right, so it looks like the Hillers are going to walk away with a very dominant win here against Norwood. So thank you, Zach McNally and Jacob Logan, for your time, as we'll be getting some interviews up here in just a second with some of the Hiller female athletes. So we'll be back with that in just a second.
Thank you, thank you. You better tag me in there.
So now I'm here with some female athletes today. So we had a variety of events done today. So I'll start off with Claire. You did the 400 hurdles, if I'm correct, and you walked away with the win. Can you take me through how you went through that performance?
Well, to be honest, I was expecting to do better. I didn't really run my best time, but I think I'll take it for today. I think in the next meets I'm looking to run faster, but for today I guess it's okay.
All right, and then it was still a very strong performance and an extra 5 points for the Hillers. And then if I'm not mistaken, it was 100 and 200 for Callie. Can you take me through that race for you as well?
The 200, I was a little sore. My legs have been through it this week, but I just really focused on getting out of my blocks fast because I've been struggling with that a lot recently, and leaning forward in my last 100 to push through for the win.
All right, and then last we have Bella Walkowitz here. I know you had the 400 meter. I'm not sure if you had any field events as well with that or any other track events. Can you take us through that 400 meter and then any other events you went through as well?
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I ran the 400 and it did not go great, but I still won, so it's okay. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, I did high jump and that went horrible because it was after the 400. Oh, and I tried the 100. Oh my god. And I got second.
All right, so yeah, we've been covering a lot of the track events, so today we have someone who's done a field event. Can you tell us, how does doing a track event compare with a field event? Is it still the same mindset mentally, or is it a completely different ball game you're playing there?
Yeah, it's still the same mindset, I'd say. I feel like they're all really mental, and you just have to be confident with it and try your best.
All right, so the girls and boys Hillers today walked away with the win, so thank you guys for your time, and then we'll look out for you guys in the future for the next Hillers meet here, so we'll be with you in just a second.
Thank you.
All right, and we just finished the 2 mile there after you saw some of those interviews with the boys and girls track athletes. A variety of events they have done today, but as we finish the 2 mile here, I'm unsure of exactly what's been going on in the 4x4. As you can see, it's getting a bit darker out here this evening, and with the delayed start and everything. So I will keep you posted if that 4x4 for the boys and girls does occur tonight, but we will stand by here while we see if that does happen today as we finish up that 2 mile tonight. So we'll be with you in just a second. All right, it looks to be like we will have a 4x4 as we see some of the Hiller athlete, the girls trickling onto the track there. I'm not sure if the lights will be on for that or how that works, but it looks to be like we just got underway with the 4x4, and it is just one team of 4 girls athletes doing that. And I'll tell you, one of the hardest things to do in track is running by yourself and being forced to do so. Having no one to pace you there, it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine they just did it. Why not get the extra practice in, right? And it looks like we also have, oh no, it looks like maybe he was just warming up. But yeah, it looks like just one team out there. And I don't know if there's going to be a boys 4x4. I would have imagined that they would have just went at the same time if there was. But it'll be a wait and see kind of thing. But why not get that extra practice in, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I've said before, many consider this a workout. So it's going to be 5 points tallied either way for the Hillers. As you can see, many of these athletes packing up here as looks to be Sophie Razul here wrapping up the first leg of the 4x4 for the girls as she hands the baton off. And I will say it is, like I've said before, it is hard to be by yourself on that track. Running by yourself there, you're not sure if you're going too fast, too slow, so you kind of have to pace yourself there. As the second leg here tries to continue that momentum that Razul has given. And you can see the sun is past setting a little bit here, so the meet is almost concluded here. Is heading into about 7:30 p.m. this evening.
Yeah, it looks like they won't need to turn the lights on tonight.
Yeah, maybe not tonight. I mean, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have a boys 4x4 happen after this. I would have assumed, like you've said before, they would have had it at the same time. It would be a bit counterproductive to have done that.
Right, yeah, so I would guess this is the last event, but we will see. We still have some of the high jump going on as well. They're wrapping that up. Looks like we're probably on the last few jumps of that, if any are left.
Yep, as Lila Helling there finishes her the second leg of the girls' 4x4, and she hands off the baton there as we're heading into the third of 4 legs for this girls' 4x4. And yeah, we will see what happens here after this, but for all we know, the meet could be over after this, so stand by.
Yeah, this is an important event too, the 4x400, especially when you're in those close meets, because this is kind of an event that could make or break you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially if this meet were to be a nail biter, then the 4x4 is usually where it gets the most loud. You know, you have athletes from both teams, fans from both teams lining up on the sideline of the track here rooting for their teams. So obviously not the case today, as the meet seems to be concluded a few events ago. But nonetheless, it's still great fun and great competition to watch, even if it's competing against yourself, because sometimes, you know, that's the hardest battle. So some of these athletes are hoping to improve their own time and then their time for their team, as Jill Torrens wrapping up the third leg here and handing off the baton for the final anchor leg here of the 4x4 for the Hillers.
Yeah, right now we got the high jump on the screen, and I don't know what height that's at, but we just had a Hiller clear that high jump, but it looks like an impressive height.
Yeah, that seems tall, and you know, I'd like to consider myself a relatively tall person, but there's just no way I'd be able to jump over that, let alone do it at a competitive level and with the right standards there. So definitely respect to these athletes that aren't necessarily running on the track, but jumping or hurdling or throwing as well. So it's competitions, and it's definitely battles from all aspects around on this track and field today.
Just gonna
As we're looking at Phoebe Klein here with the final anchor leg here, and we will see if there's a boys event after this, but that is all wrapped up here for the girls Hillers today with a very impressive performance, taking home the win home today against the Norwood Mustangs. So a very impressive performance all around from the female athletes tonight.
Well, I do see a boys team on the track, Colby, so it looks like maybe there will be a boys event.
Yeah, don't get too antsy now, folks. We're almost done with this meet here, but I'm not sure exactly why they wouldn't have just combined them and make it a mix, but I'm sure they have their own reason for that. But it looks to be like we will have boys 4x4, and I believe it is all Hopkinton, if I'm not mistaken, but we will see as these athletes are lining up on the track on multiple lanes, it looks like.
All right, well, they get ready to go. Let's take a look at the high jump. I believe they're going to have their last couple of jumps.
And we are underway with the final event here, the boys 4x400. So we'll have a baton handed off 4 times across that finish line, as it looks to be 5 teams here competing, all in Hopkinton uniforms. So we will see how that ends tonight, as wrapping up this meet here home against Norwood. But looks to be very competitive nonetheless, even if it is just Hopkinton athletes.
All right, here we go. Oh, just a little short on the high jump. Almost cleared it. All right, and now we'll go back to the boys 4x4.
Yep.
They're putting the high jump back up, so we might take another opportunity to try to make it.
Yep, and Heavey there, Miles Heavey, with a very impressive first leg for that Hillers team, giving them the lead early in this all Hopkinton matchup here, but it's a great performance by him. You saw him in an earlier event before, so it's a great effort for any athlete to be running more than one event, especially an event that's that taxing on your body. So much respect out to him and all Hiller athletes who have to do more than just one event here tonight.
All right, here we go. He's going to take another go at this height on the high jump. If I had to guess, I would say that's, 5'10", maybe?
Yeah, it's got to be high.
Almost.
He almost got it up there, man.
I thought he had it for a second.
And that's one of those events where there really is no room for error. You know, you can see the specific way they have to do that. So it's a very, very taxing event there on the track.
All right, they're putting it back up, so he might have one opportunity. I know they get 3 opportunities at each height on the high jump. So he'll wait for the runners to pass and then perhaps take his third and final opportunity to try to make this height. All right, so looks like he's going to give it one more go on the high jump. We got to see if he makes this height. Big height here. And the 4x400 entering their last leg. And we'll get you to that as soon as we take a look at this high jump here.
Here he goes for the high jump. And he just misses it.
Just a little short there. I think he'll get it eventually before the season's over. All right, I'm going to guess that was the third and last opportunity, so let's go back to the 4x400.
You see some of these athletes here showing their Hiller pride here, lying down on the floor, doing some dance moves here on the track, and support for their teammates. So definitely a fun time here tonight at Hopkinton Field, as the Hillers are in good spirits here, as they're going to walk away with this win. As it looked to be almost complete with this 4x4, just a couple more athletes to pass that finish line carrying the stick, but you could see good morale here for the Hillers as they improve to 3-0 on the season here with a very impressive start, and they're hoping to continue their TVL dominance as they head into the middle of April here. So another great dominant performance by both the men and women here tonight.
Absolutely. So as the 4x400 wraps up, the next home meet will be against Westwood, so that'll be a big one. That's in a couple weeks. So we'll be looking forward to that meet, and they'll be on the road before that. Have to check the schedule to see where they will be. But a couple big meets coming up for this Hiller team, but that is going to do it here today. We are wrapping up, so Colby, any closing thoughts as we wrap up this broadcast?
Yeah, so the boys athletes took home the win here, the 104-9 victory here against Norwood. So a very dominant performance, and then the girls with a great finish, 99-37. So you can definitely see some of that Hiller athletic shining here tonight. As Westwood should be the next meet, as you said. That should be hopefully a better matchup and hopefully a good competition there for that. But I'm happy to be here on the call. Colby Crum here with Tom Nappy. So look out for some future baseball and softball games with the two of us doing each. So we're happy to be here, and this is HCAM. Thank you.
All right, Colby. It was a pleasure broadcasting this meet with you today. A big thank you to our camera operator, Denise Untaki, who did a great job. But for all of us at HCAM, that is going to wrap it up. We thank you for watching Hopkinton Hillers outdoor track and field. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye, everybody.